So in a previous lesson, we talked about the different data types that are available in JavaScript, and one of the data types that we didn't cover completely was object literals. So in this lesson, we're going to look at what object literals are, otherwise just commonly known as objects, and we'll see how to define them, how to use them, and why you would want to use them in your code. So objects in JavaScript are used to model actual things. So that thing could be a user, or a network connection, or possibly a HTML element on the page. So it's a way of grouping together some properties that that thing actually has and some actions that that thing can actually do. So let's go through an example. If I was going to model a user or a person, then I could actually create three separate variables such as their name, their age, and the programming languages that they're fluent in, and save those all in three separate variables. So like in our previous lesson with arrays, if we wanted to store multiple users or multiple versions of this data, we would need to create several different variables for each user. So for example, if we wanted to have one person, we could prefix all of the variables with an identifier such as person1, and then when we want to come on to the second person, we could do person2. But this is a really long-winded way of doing it, and we've got no way of keeping track of what properties, the name, the age, and the languages, are available on each person. So whilst arrays would solve this problem somewhat, we'd still need to keep track of which person is at which index in the array, and it gets a bit messy when we're trying to add, remove, and identify people at different parts of the array and the different properties that they have, because we would need three arrays to hold all this information. So objects will allow us to group this data together and access it easily. So we can assign an object to a variable in the same way that we can with other data types. And an object is defined with opening and closing curly braces. And inside those curly braces is where we put the properties that we want that object to have. So you'll notice that the property name is defined on the left hand side, so we have name, age and languages, and then there is a colon separating the value which is on the right hand side. And as you can see, we can quite happily put in strings, numbers and arrays, or any other data type that we have, including other objects, inside of our object properties. So simply referencing person at the moment gives us the whole object back, so you can see on the right hand side we've got all of the properties returned, but what if we actually just want to access the person's name? Well, there are two ways of doing that. There is the dot notation and the bracket notation. And the dot notation, as the name suggests, is just by using a dot or a period on the end of the object name and typing the name of the property that you want to access. So let's access the name property. And as you can see on the right hand side, we're just accessing the string property of name. And as you can see, we get the result on the right hand side. The other way to access properties is to use the square bracket notation, and it works pretty much in the same way. We just put some square brackets after the object has been referenced. You'll notice we have to pass a string into the square brackets, and this is just the name of the property enclosed in quotes. So the dot notation and the square bracket notation do exactly the same thing. The only real time that you'd probably want to use square brackets is when you want to access a property via a variable name. So here you can see I've defined a variable called property2get and given it the value of age, and then I can just use that variable name inside our square brackets to get a property from our object. So if I change that property2get value to something else, you can see I can dynamically access any part of the object just by changing the value of that variable. So now you know how to get the values of properties from an object, but how do you actually set or update the object properties themselves? Well, you can do that again using either dot or bracket notation. So here I've just used the dot notation to access the person's name property, and then I've just used an equal sign to assign it a new value. And if we examine the person object again, you can see when the console logs out the whole object, the name now has updated to Fred. And you can do exactly the same thing using the square bracket notation. And you can actually create new properties in the object whenever you like. So here I've created a new property last name, and you can see in the right hand side that the object has that new property of last name. So at a fundamental level, that's all you need to know about objects for the moment. You need to know that they can group properties together and you can access and set their values whenever you like. Before we finish, let's have a look at an example of an array of objects and how this would make our life easier if we were dealing with multiple people objects like we have in this example. So here we have an array which has been assigned to a variable called people, and inside the array are 4 objects that have the properties of name and age. So the first thing to notice is you don't need to create a variable name for each one of these people. So in the previous example we had a variable called person, which stored our object. These objects are just created and stored directly in the array. So how would we access some of the data that's stored in our array? Well, in the previous lesson you saw that you could use an index to actually access an item in the array. So if we wanted to get the first item, we would say people and then square brackets 0. And you can see we've got the first item in the array returned. So now if we want to access one of the property values, we just use the dot or bracket notation to pick out the property that we wish. So here you can see how we're combining an array and an object together to store our data sensibly and concisely and then be able to access it easily with indexes and property names. So there's a lot more you can do with objects, and they can get pretty complicated when working on larger scale programs, but you should now have the fundamentals of being able to use objects, and in the next few lessons we'll look at how to use them in greater detail.